Do you believe entrepreneurs are born or made? There's no reels.
Yep.
Ads aren't just left, right, and center. Instagram is just photo videos.
I started right before AI. End of 2022, my mom's passed from cancer. Having this conversation a day or two after Elon Musk became a trillionaire. Elon Musk has opened the doors for trillionaires to rise now. I see the world as having infinite resources and infinite growth opportunities. So how do I attach myself to that path? How do I grab onto the rocket while
100%.
it's going up?
Play long games with long-term people. I know that I'm a long-term player.
The youngest guy in my program is 16.
Wow.
And he's making like £5,000 a month. If they don't ask questions, if they aren't curious, if they don't try, not much is gonna happen.
My clients, 24, 26, 28, exact same rule. The ones who don't ask questions, I know exactly what's gonna happen. 36-year-old entrepreneur.
24-year-old entrepreneur.
All right, man. I'm very curious. Let's throw some things together. There's 12 years in between us. So
Yes.
what year were you born?
2002.
1989, the 1800s, right?
Yeah.
And we are both entrepreneurs. I've been doing some form of entrepreneurship since I was 24. If I want to count other years, you could say 20.
Yeah.
What about you?
I started 2023, so that's like just 3.5 years
Cool.
now. Yeah.
All right, so I'll start with this question. I'll throw this at you. Do you believe entrepreneurs are born or made?
That's very interesting. I think entrepreneurs are born and they can be developed. It's a sliding scale rather than like you either are or you aren't. It's like, to what extent are you an entrepreneur? Like some people are like I'm happy to run a local convenience store, a local restaurant type of entrepreneur, or there's the I want to change the world entrepreneur. So there's a sliding scale of that, yeah.
True. I would say similar. I would say both, and even the concept of entrepreneur and intrapreneur.
Yes.
Younger years, I was so fixated thinking I had to be the owner operator, but an intrapreneur is someone with that entrepreneurial mindset, growing another company from within that company and building their wealth by bringing value to that company.
Yes.
I feel like there's so many different angles of entrepreneurs are born, but they're also made.
Yeah.
And there's also entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs at different sliding scales.
Yeah. There's solopreneurs, entrepreneurs. There's a
I don't know
lot.
if those count, but but
Exactly.
there are too.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
100%. Got a question. Let's throw questions back and forth, and let's bounce both of our perspectives from two different generations.
Yeah, I have a question for you. So I like to start off with what got you started, or what was the experience of starting a business when you started, and when was that?
And that was 2013, apparel brand. And just to give you an idea of the landscape back then, there's no reels.
Yep.
Ads aren't just left, right, and center. Instagram is just photo videos, and Instagram isn't even a thing that has this much monthly active users.
Yes.
Snapchat stories. I don't even know if Instagram stories were out.
I think back then, Instagram was literally just launched.
Yeah,
around
100%.
2012, 2013.
Yeah. True. So it was very interesting to market. Marketing was very much Facebook, was very much word of mouth, was very much like hustle in person, which was hard. It was very hard. You just had to figure things out, like that figure it out muscle that I tell all my clients to build now. We just had less at our disposal. So it was so hard to rapidly scale that forced you to innovate, but at the same time, you didn't have to suffer with comparison. Like every second guy was not making 100K a month, or $1 million a month. You would never see those stories. The most you'd see is like luxury lifestyle on Instagram, and it has like black helicopter and 2 black Lamborghinis in a picture, and you'll be like, wow, how do I make that? So connecting the dots was very difficult. So pros and cons, but in your era now, man, everybody's making 100K a month online, right? And there's the world's first trillionaire, Elon Musk.
Yes.
What about in your era now? How have you found your experience of getting started, and what were the pros and cons you feel for your season?
It's interesting because I started right before AI, which is an interesting thing, because even for the first year or so, year and a half of AI, it wasn't good. It was just barely usable. And so the first year to 2 years of business for me was still very much learning the skills and being very manual with it. Running an agency is what I did. And so that's marketing, sales, building systems, hiring people. A lot of the the small intricacies of doing those things, so like marketing, copywriting, creative making, all that kind of stuff, I had to think about it. And if I didn't think about it, like nothing was going to happen. You know, AI was getting quite good last year, but this year it's just really taken off. And so this year for like, I kind of reflect on the students that I'm bringing into business now, like they have every single advantage. Zero excuses to not make something and make it happen fast with AI. So when I was starting, and it's like, it might be weird to say because you started way before, but yeah, it was still quite a manual process. And I'm glad I went through it though. Like I'm glad I was just in that period where I can say that I wasn't an AI entrepreneur, like purely. Now, obviously, we both use it to accelerate everything, but I at least had social media, right? Like I had the understanding of what it was like, and then I could jump into it.
Definitely, definitely. And I think it's something that's just compounding, and this probably lead to my next question. It's like, there's this AI era, you could say social media era.
Yeah.
I was at the start of the social media era, like early social era. Before that was the internet era. Before that, like there's this accelerating curve of what we can do, what we can leverage. So now there's this AI era, right? And it just seems like the smorgasbord is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Where it can also lead to now over-analysis on like, what do I even pick or choose or do?
Yeah.
And you're being spread in so many directions. So I've got a question for you. In this AI era moving forward, what would the challenges of the newer entrepreneurs be? And maybe even the older entrepreneurs, like what is the challenge moving forward? Like there's obviously the pros is you can move faster than ever before, you can scale to heights never before.
Yeah.
What's the challenges?
I think the one biggest challenge is simply focus. That's it. Like when you have AI and the doors that it opens, the opportunities that it presents to you, like it's information overload. You know, like you put one prompt into Claude, for example, it gives you like an entire page of, now I have to read through all of this. Because it's expanded the information that you have, it's the skill and the difficulty now is bringing that down to what do I need to focus on and what is the needle moving activity. That's what I would say, like especially for people who are starting in the AI era, you have every tool available to you on the planet. Now it's what are the fundamentals that I need to focus on? Because business, at the end of the day, it's fundamentals.
Yes.
It's marketing, sales, delivery, and like at its core level, just understanding people.
Definitely.
Like what do people want? What makes people do certain actions? What problems do they have? How can you solve them? And one other thing as well is that a lot of people think they need to come up with something new in business, right? But the thing is, the old boring stuff still works and it will always work. And using the new technology, which is AI, to expedite the process, make the basics more efficient, that's something that a lot of people don't understand as well.
Yeah.
Efficiency of the fundamentals. Even for myself, like I'm learning, like how do I become better at copywriting, better at marketing, better at sales by tweaking my skill set with the use of AI, because I can iterate so fast. But yeah, to throw it back to you, what has it been like adapting through each period? Like going from, okay, social media is everywhere. Social media is everyone's life. Everyone has a phone. I can put myself out there in front of billions of people, and then we have AI now which can accelerate anything like faster than ever.
The quote comes to mind is like, or even a way of life is play your position. Like if you're trying to out someone that grows up in the AI era, you're again playing another sport. You got to really understand your position. You got to be able to zoom out and look at yourself objectively. You know, a lot of people think awareness is like self-development, but it's actually like an operational guide and manual to life amongst different generations.
Yes.
So for me, understanding that, like, let's just say if I look at the generation before me, I'm 36, I won't have the stature and reputation as some of the 46-year-olds and 56-year-olds, but at the same time, I won't have the output and understanding and synergy of technology and AI as some of the 26, 18-year-olds, etc.
Yeah.
So really understanding where I fit into the puzzle. And it's interesting as you break down like the phases, like understanding marketing, sales, fulfillment, etc., because those are all components in the business. The next generation will have not just 5 things, but 20 things they measure. In my generation, it's just sales. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. It's not even marketing. It's just like bottom line. So then a lot of my mentality is just, is it making money or not?
Yes.
So when I meet some of these younger guys now, they've built like this smart system just for the sake of it being smart.
Yeah.
And then you ask them the question, so how much is it turning over? And they're like, oh, well, we're in the process of then they have a smart answer for that too.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, if it's not making money, you don't have a business.
So focusing on the fundamentals.
Exactly. And the fundamentals look different at every stage. So how do I adapt is I zoom out to be aware of what season I'm in. I understand the coming seasons and stay adaptable, but where I can leverage and exchange whatever, whether it's my expertise or capital or cash flow for the next generation, service for service in essence, but also doing the same at the higher level, whether it's like an advisor to me, someone that can help me with my fundamentals that I don't see, because I'm still a millennial. But then there's guys ahead of me that, well, I don't know if it's a boomer, but you know.
Yeah, very true. Wow.
Yeah. So, okay, how about this, man? What has been like, entrepreneurship is brutal because you are pretty much following some form of a guide to life, to business, to success, but everyone's guide is unique and different. And you're juggling life. Yes. You're juggling core life events. And I don't think many people realize this until you're at least 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 years into it, where parent dies, relationship problems, relationship breakups, illnesses, sometimes you even go bankrupt and then you got to come back out of that, right? So what has been like, let's just say 1, 2, 3, like what are some core moments that have really tested you, but also shaped you as an entrepreneur?
Well, the first event was my mom's passing. So end of 2022, she passed from cancer, and I had always been an entrepreneurial type of person. I had the mind for it, but I never had the catalyst for it. Like I had done, extracurricular entrepreneurial activities in high school, dabbled, sold candy as a kid to my tutoring classmates. But in terms of like actually getting into something and taking it seriously, that was my first catalyst. I lost my mom. It's a whole entire piece of your life. And losing her meant that like this shit's real. I don't have the time I think I have. And it's like an unfortunate thing, and I wouldn't wish it on anybody. But for me, I'm grateful for it, as unfortunate as it is, because I got to take the first step into becoming the best version of me. And yeah, it was an event that I remember very, very clearly, but has put me on the path of true entrepreneurship, which is self-development, providing value, caring about people, solving problems. And that was the very first one. I think the second biggest thing was last year. So I was still running the agency, but I was starting to get sick of it because it wasn't as aligned with who I was. And back then as well, we didn't have AI or as strong as it is now. And so at that point, I was like, okay, I'm not enjoying this. I want to do something that is fulfilling to me, but where I can still provide value. And that's when I started the Confect Consulting business. And that mindset shift for me was I had to stop being the guy who did everything and was a done-for-you service provider, but the guy who facilitates growth, if that makes sense. That was a shift for me, because now if I'm not doing the work, I have to find a way to help somebody do the thing and still achieve the results. That was the second thing for me, really. But aside from just that, like those events within business, I think throughout the years, I've been with my girlfriend now for nearly 10 years.
Wow.
Which has been incredible. I love her more than anything. And yeah, it's definitely been a test. Like I know a lot of people ask, like, how do you maintain a relationship while you're running a business? And what I can say to that is it is difficult. Like it will never not be difficult, but it's about finding the right person, and having the right person will actually accelerate you more than not having them. Agreed. If that makes sense. Like even with this business now, I'd attribute a lot of its success to her. Yes, I have skills. Yes, I can help, but just having her as a support system and somebody who can like be my why as well, has been really, really powerful for me. So yes, there's a lot of struggles with having a partner, but if they believe in you, they give you energy, they give you support, you leverage that to build, to do things, to give back to them. I think, you can really, really, really make it work. But what about yourself? Because I know your relationship has been a little bit shorter, more recent, and like obviously you're in a season of life where you have to start thinking about those questions as well. But for yourself, like what made you want that, and how has it helped you change from the version of you just before it to like who you are now today, like 6 or so months later?
Yeah, man. Like relationships are interesting. Even ironically, losing a mom, right? And I don't have sisters, so females were always like an interesting question mark for me. And I lost my mom when I was 14. Like in my earlier years, like a code I wanted to crack. And then you would sort of like objectify and just see them as like, again, sort of coming through the neighborhood, etc. You just see females as like, who are you smashing? That was like the mentality. And then you start to realize, like, or understand that you can't do everything alone in business or as an entrepreneur. And it's not just a team, but it's your family and your relationship. Right? Because, like, your business partners can support you to some extent, but you said it well, like, every man needs a why, and that why will keep evolving. So, like, at 25, man, I just wanted to be a digital nomad and laptop lifestyle. That was the dream I sold and the dream I achieved. I achieved it around 28. I lived that till about 31. And then, not that it gets boring, it's amazing, but it's like at 31, there's something just like the man provider just kicks in more and more and more. And it's just like, yeah, cool. I can provide a lifestyle for myself, but this is almost like the mid-20, the young man's dream. And like, now I'm starting to think about who am I in my 40s? I'm not just a guy, hey, I'm on a flight again. It's evolving. Who am I? Like, do I have kids? Like, I started to think about all these things, and then I started to shift a lot of attention into finding the right woman that not just understands me, but brings out something in me. You know, I was in a relationship at that time. At 31, man, I jumped into relationships trying to find myself, my person. Maybe different to you in that sense. You've been with your person for 10 years. It started a lot with me realizing what I want and don't want. So was in a 4-year relationship, ended it. That person, I felt like I was moving too fast for her. And in providing for her, it forced me to slow down to try and match her. So then that was a weird concept, right? And then ended that one, jumped into another relationship that was about 1.5 years. This is now like at 33 years old. This person really shared my values of like family and empire, etc. But they just weren't ready. They were going through their own battles, etc. Again, just not at my level per se. And then just organically found myself in one now that they are building as well. There's so much things that I just don't even have to speak about. They get it, right? And I feel that is so critical for an entrepreneur. And I'm also realizing in the later years in business, people like to do business with people that exude certain qualities such as commitment. Like at 36 years old, let's just say mid-30s, you want to do business ideally with a man who has a faithful marriage, etc.
Exactly.
Rather than the single guy still hasn't got shit together. Like, you know, if you're jumping into equity partnerships and millions on the line, and you're like, you know, you want someone that you can really trust, a man of value. So I've also come to respect that in myself, and therefore it really reflects the woman you attract and choose to build a life with as well. You know?
Your woman like says a lot about you.
100%. 100%. And then, looking back at some of the seasons, I was just like, wow, that was actually just a reflection of me. The fact that I allowed that. You know? I said yes to that for a while, you know? So it evolves. For you, man, maybe you're not even thinking about this. Maybe you are. Like in my season, speaking of relationship, woman, kids are a thing, family is a thing. Do you think about that at your age? And tell me more about, like, is that like a strong why for you? How do you perceive children, kids, family? How does that influence your pace and your hustle and your focus at this stage as a mid-20s?
So I plan on getting married next year. So I want to do it young, because like my parents, when they had me, so my dad was 36, my mom was 34. And even though like obviously they're my parents and I can be close to them, I feel that age gap. You know, like my dad is now 60 this year. And like even just saying that out loud scares me.
My dad's 75. How crazy is that?
And it sucks, right? Which really like kind of makes you reflect and be like, oh shit, like I don't have the time to mess around. Like I have to give back, I have to do something. But thinking about that, I want to have kids young, like 27 around, like 26, 27. Obviously be married and enjoy that for a little bit, but I'm the type where I want to, it's like the compound effect, right? Or like the exponential graph, where all of that accelerates you as a person. So having a partner, being in a committed marriage, having children, which is the biggest commitment ever. And that's why it's also like, for me, I think maybe you could tell, but I have like a very big vision, right? Like I see out there because I have to, you know? Like you can't think far if you don't have, you know, the people with you to like help you get there. And so, like a lot of people are, what do I want? How do I want my life to look? And that comes with a marriage and kids. I'm excited for it, you know? And I feel like it'll help my personal development just as a human, as an entrepreneur, as a partner, as a leader as well. Like I'm very much for personal growth for everybody. And yeah, thinking about family like excites me. And just having it young, being able to connect with my kids, still raise them while I'm young, that's what I want. I don't want to wait until, later on in life where time will pass you by.
Yes.
And it's not like you'll miss the years, but it feels like the gap is going to grow bigger, if that makes sense. Like every new generation gets, things faster, and that distance and the disconnect is going to grow bigger. At least that's how I feel about it. So,
100% true, man. Time has gone super fast.
Yeah. So like for yourself, are you thinking about that next step as well? Like what does that look like? Because I know like you have very big goals as well for, you're in your building phase, you want to have a lot of equity, a lot of assets under your belt, and really make yourself, known. And so what is that like, at your stage of life, at your season? What is the next step after maybe this build, or like how does that support the build?
Definitely, man. It's wild, man. I think how I see the world, or the glasses that I've been given after 14 years now, is I realize how fast time goes, how slow time goes at the same time. Like we think like, man, it's going to take me 10 years to whatever. It's like, well, it's been 14. That was a fast 10 years. So then when you think 10 years forward now, it actually doesn't feel as big anymore because you've already just experienced it. But at the same time, it's the other side of like time is flying. And it's such a weird paradox, man, because even at 36 now, like I don't know if you think like this, but when I was 25, I was thinking by 30 and then maybe by 35, and I couldn't comprehend anything past that. But now I can actually comprehend, like at 36, I can comprehend 40, 50, 60, 70, because I think just like my understanding and perspective of timelines and pace is digested over a decade. So man, I actually feel younger than ever because I realized the game I'm playing, Naval Ravikant, I don't know if you know this guy, he said, play long games with long people. Like,
long-term people,
that's it. That's the thing. Play long games with long-term people, and I know that I'm a long-term player. There's a lot of people you meet in this entrepreneurial world that say they're long-term players, but they don't last a year, 3 years, 5 years. And then you begin to be able to see through that. So now everything for me is just long-term. I know what, let's just say, retirement looks like. And retirement for me is where you could argue that I'm already retired. It's where I don't need to fund my burn rate, and I can just focus on building things and building people and whatever my passion is. And those are my two things: building things that impact and influence the world, building people that impact and influence the world at scale. So I'm always going to be building something, and that's also going to be myself. I think that's the third component, including family. So like having my first child next year is something that me and my partner are looking at. This thing's already in motion, and even when it comes down to settling and marriage, it seems like it's all next year. And man, that's just another step in building myself, people, and things. So the projects is always going to be a project, and I just get that much better at understanding leverage over time, understanding pace and speed over time. And it's exciting. It's just like sparring. If it's boxing, it's like there's every new landscape era. This AI era is like a fresh new opponent. Where does my old strike still work? And where do I have to sharpen up certain punches? And I love that because there's going to be another era after AI too, and you could argue that that's either quantum computing, processing power, robotics. You can just keep riding these waves, and there's never an end to it.
That's very interesting. Where do you see the next?
I see the brains. AI is literally autonomous brains, right? Like these agents, these solutions all live in softwares, live in screens, live in Mac Minis, etc. Live in Claude. They need a body, and there's so much funding and production into robotics, and not just humanoid robots, but structural, industrial robots. So these brains are going to get smarter at problem solving and get put into robotics. So robotics is huge. But then that goes into two other things that I see stand out is powering AI and powering robotics, but especially AI usage is energy. And that's where we are looking to get into space. Think something from Elon called the Dyson Swarm or terafabs on the moon. This is a whole other topic. But it is expanding that way because space as an unlimited, technically, amount of resources.
Yeah, right.
So we're being forced to go into space to find energy that Earth just can't provide for our level of infrastructure.
Yeah.
And then finally is just, with that comes quantum computing, which is, they say, I think a quantum computer will break all the financial system by the time it comes out. Like quantum computing can break through all encryption levels at whatever depth. Okay. So then we're going to have to use that same quantum computing to build the next tier of encryption, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that curve is only going to, we think AI is the, compounder. It just compounds and compounds and compounds until arguably singularity, which is apparently what we're already living in. We're like mid-singularity right now, which is crazy. This used to be like a sci-fi thing, and we're living it. I got a question for you on that, right? Like, this is me speaking from not just like conspiracy, but 10 years of being at Future Tech Expos, bringing things to market, hearing multiple CEOs on stage, seeing where funds are going, like $1 trillion funds from the UAE and where they're putting money. So it's a very educated perspective, right? And I'm able to comprehend it because I've been at the cusp of it for so long. But when I say things like quantum computing, Mars, terafab, robotics, etc., to you, how do you take it? Is it overwhelming? Is it, of course, there's some form of excitement? Are you strategizing? How do you comprehend that at 24? 24?
Yeah. No, it really excites me. Like, I love all of that stuff. Like, obviously, we're having this conversation a day or two after Elon Musk became a trillionaire, right? And like, how I connect the dots there is like, obviously you just spoke about space and like getting out there and, getting new resources where we don't have resources. And obviously space exploration is a part of that, right? Which is why, obviously, he's a trillionaire, because the value and it's like the foresight of looking out and bringing that back to Earth or, to humans is something no one has ever done before, and like what the SpaceX IPO represents is kind of humanity aligning on the vision that, hey, we need to go out there and we need to start like getting resources that we don't have, or like building on our resources to evolve. I'm always the type of person who wants to evolve as well, get better, develop personally, and so I love all that stuff. Like I listen to podcasts with billionaires all the time. I'm not in my small little bubble. I listen to Naval, Elon, a bunch of other guys like, Chamath?
Yes.
Chamath and David Sachs, all those kind of guys. Like, I love learning about all these kind of things because objectively, the game I'm playing is very small, baby levels. Step 1, step 2, and I want to be up there. Whatever that level is, there's always levels, right? But I want to be up there in some sort of capacity. And so when I hear and see these things, I'm like, wow, if he's a trillionaire, why not me?
Let alone a billionaire.
Yeah. But like, Elon Musk has opened the doors for trillionaires to rise now. He's not going to be the last one. There's going to be a second, a third, a fourth, fifth, and it's just going to keep expanding. And that's the way that I see the world as well. Like, there is genuinely infinite resources. Like, I saw this documentary about the Australian mines or something, and how there's all these finite resources, or how there was the whole oil issue with the war from between Dubai and whatever it was.
Strait of Hormuz,
like a couple months ago now. And I had a friend tell me, about the oil, and he was kind of getting a little bit, what's it called, like scared about it, or like, that feeling of groupthink fear. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say.
So like, he had a bit of that, and I told him like, it's gonna like disappear in 2 weeks.
Yes.
And it did.
Yes.
Like, there was no issues with oil, prices have gone back down. It's just politics, news, the government trying to this, that, with everybody. And so, like, the way I see it, they were speaking a lot about, we have finite resources, we only have this amount of fuel or whatever it is, and it's all gone back to normal. If anything, things are growing. I watched that documentary of the mines. It's like the biggest mine in Australia or something, and it was like this little thing in comparison to this. And then this wasn't even like a state in Australia. It's like this, and then there's this table, and then there's this little space here, and then you go out, and there's outside, and then you go outside of Melbourne, and then outside of Australia, and then it just keeps expanding. And so like, I see the world as having infinite resources and infinite growth opportunities. So whenever I hear about these things that happen and new discoveries are made, I'm just like, okay, cool. How do I attach myself to that path? How do I grab onto the rocket while 100%. It's going up?
You said something good. I feel like that is the key, is learning to step back, get a bird's eye view, and then a bird's eye view on your bird's eye view, and a bird's eye view. And then leveraging, as you say, other people, as you've leveraged myself, to zoom out and see what you don't see. Right? And that foresight, if you think about it, right? Like Tesla was always a robotics company, you know, and he got into automotives to understand like the machine of a car is just a machine of a machine. And there's a Tesla bot, etc. Right? And if you think about X or XAI, or even Grok, it's sort of positioned as like what is the power of a social network is data. Data of how people operate, conversations, topics, etc. And that's a language learning model. That's an LLM, you know? So he's always had this sort of foresight to understand objectively that these are the components I need to solve a greater issue. Right? And I feel like that's so critical for any entrepreneur, just human, is to be able to adapt with this many things going on. You've got to be able to keep zooming out and attach yourself to a big mission or why and just lock into that, right? And that's all it is, even for myself. Like so many times, man, people with different startups of mine going like, so what are you doing with this? And I'm like, yeah, well, right now it's positioned as you run calls on this platform and we turn it into intelligence, etc. So they're like Zoom. Well, not necessarily. We've got to zoom out a few pieces and then pun intended. And then, you know, so even for you, like that's probably one of the greatest assets I've seen in you that a lot of people don't have, not even in your generation, but even in mine. I would say the 1% sort of mentality is the ability to zoom out and understand the marathon game. And here's the thing, right? Like if you're starting to think about equity and startups, etc., or startup opportunities, more to just learn the game so you can attach to that game rather than is it going to work? You know, I can see that difference in you.
I have a question for you. Please. So obviously you're my mentor, right? And I've been learning a lot from you. I think it's been one of the best experiences I've had with mentors, like the best, honestly.
Appreciate it.
I've learned a lot. I think I've developed a lot in the past 3 or so months that we've been working together. But like for yourself, I know you have mentors. What do they teach you? What do you look for, you know, in your season, and how do other people help you? How do they advise you? What leverage do you gain from them, you know, after having gone through my stages already? Like what are the levels like, and what kind of help do you get?
Yeah, I would say at the start, man, it's purely a transaction. I even feel like when you pay someone for a service, there's a form of mentoring in there if you're curious enough. You pay someone for videography and they shoot for you and you learn the little nuances of like color grading and lighting, and you're like, oh wow, that's a thing. So it's like mentorship. And then it expands to where you're not really getting a service, but you're purely paying for like perspective and insight and advisory and consulting and direction, which is arguably where we've sort of been at, right? And then the stage after that, there might be some form of an investment, but almost some form of a partnership. Now you're building something in a direction or building something with a person with a greater perspective. And it's all just perspective and expansion. How do I sort of identify it now is like, if I want to be playing a game, if I knew what I needed to know about the game, I'd already be playing it. So I obviously don't know something. So then I'd look for a player in that game, and then I would pick their brain by just starting to build a relationship with them. And there's so many players in every game, right? But sometimes a play style will suit your style more than another style. So it's almost like technically you're shopping for a mentor.
Yes.
And then you see how that person works, because that person already, like their time is going to be worth something. So then the journey becomes of like negotiation, you could say, of what do I bring to the table in exchange for it? Sometimes it's like, let me just pay you. But some mentors, man, like they don't even charge. Like I got some mentors that don't charge. I got some mentors that their time is so valuable that I can't actually buy it with money. I got to buy it with something else. You know,
what does that look like?
It looks like partnership. So I'll give you an example. One of my main business partners at Presence is my mentor. But he can't be bought because he doesn't advertise mentoring. You got to be a delusional visionary that he's willing to plug onto for him to mentor you. So the thing that really got him to link to me is we had a coffee one day and he goes, what's your like vision, dream? And I said, I want to build a platform that influences 2 billion monthly active users, because Facebook does it, so why can't we? And he was like, the fact that you said 2 billion monthly active users, you had the balls to even say that and go for it. I wanted to build something with you. If I said I want to turn over 100K a month, he's blitzing that. You know, that wouldn't have been anything for him. It would have just been a coffee. That's sort of what I look for now, man. It's just like when I have a conversation with him, he will say things that I can't even comprehend. Like I get it, it's so simple. Like, and it's sort of like what, but it's almost like I'll ask him a question in Chinese and he'll reply in Japanese, and it made total sense to me without me understanding how to speak Japanese. It's the only way I can really explain it. But it would have it would have sharpened my Chinese a little bit better as well.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
So then, man, it just that, and I noticed like I was getting sharper, and not just in a way of like linear growth, but compounding. It's like one conversation. Now I come out and I see everything different, just like similar to maybe our experience. I see it all wider. I don't just see this book anymore. I see the table and the floor, and I'm like, wow, what else? You know?
Yeah. No, I think that's exactly the same for me. Where like every conversation we have, or every single little voice note, it's like my perspective just grows. Like, so to give you the example of what just happened with me. So my growth operator, my marketing manager, I had to let him go. Or for a while now, honestly, it's been like 3 months where I've known that, okay, I have to let him go to really grow this thing. And there was just an emotional attachment to it because he's been my friend for a year and a half. We've had a really great time together, but as the business grew, certain expectations weren't set, I think. And yeah, there was just this feeling of, it wasn't resentment, I don't resent him at all, but it was me not being the leader that was necessary to put things as they were and how they needed to be. So I was struggling with that like mentally, and how do I let him go? How do I make the change? How do I just pull the plug, cut the cord as it is, but still like maintain myself and maintain him as well in
it's a big decision.
In the actual circumstance itself. And the way that you relayed that perspective to me, literally like it just clicked. And like I had no more emotional feelings about it. It just pulled me out of there instantly. It was the child analogy of looking at my business as a child and just thinking about what's the best for my child, and sometimes like it just doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter how you feel, it doesn't matter what's happening, like is it good or is it bad for my child? And I think that's an important perspective as well, because obviously I'm in the mindset of, okay, I'm about to have a child, or I want to have a child, and so like attaching those two together made me see like, oh, it's not that I don't care about it, but I don't need to worry, and it'll play out how it's supposed to play out, but it needs to happen faster, and it just needs to happen rather than delaying it. So, in the situation, we had a 2-hour long call. I told him, hey, I want to, I'll give you a chance to give me a plan of what you would improve. But then after that, at that night, I was like, okay, cool. Just send him a long text. Hey, I'll leave it as it is. There's no point dragging it on, making you do something that is not necessary for you to do. We'll leave it at that. And yeah, it allowed the next door to open, which is the best part about it, because as you know, like in about a week and a half, I have a big event coming up for myself, and I'm obviously very stressed about that event. And I think making this decision has opened up that door to actually be the version of it that I want it to be. And I feel like if I waited even a second longer, I would have been cooked. It would not have gone the way I wanted it to, and that is because of the decision I would have made. And so it was a life-changing perspective. I would genuinely say that. And so I see like what you mean in terms of, there's certain mentors or people that you speak with that they help you zoom out, or like they shift the way you're looking at it. And that's honestly the most important thing. Like I would pay anything for that. Which is why like at those levels you pay a lot, or you have, partnership, equity, whatever, because it pays to know that, or to have that person in your corner. And yeah, I think it was so valuable for me. So thank you.
Awesome. Pleasure. I'll add one thing. I'll ask you a question, and then maybe we'll throw a final question at each other, right? There's a misconception that you are learning something from a mentor that you don't know. I would say everyone already knows what to do.
Always.
Yeah, always, right? So just really understanding that you're not learning anything new from a mentor, you're expanding your perspective on things you already know. So you can get a greater perspective and picture of the complete picture, just the little things. It's always, what you're missing is never something you don't know, it's always in between things that you already know that you're missing. And that's been gold for me, because I see a lot of people that have access to great minds to expand things, but there's that mentality, and I think it could be ego of just like, oh, I already sort of know this. I already know everything too. I know a lot, but I'm excited to see what I don't know from within of what I know. And that's beautiful. So I'm going to flip it in a sense. We're speaking about like mentorship. But you as a student, there's also not what makes a great mentor, what do you look for in a mentor, but like what makes a great student? And I think this would be a good question for you because yes, you're a student of mine, but you also have your own students.
Yes.
And I've been a student too, and it takes a really good student as well. That's why like results can vary. Right? So for you being on the receiving end, but even having students yourself, what makes a great student?
Yeah, right. Honestly, a great student for me, and if I think about my best ones, what qualities they have, it's just number one, taking action. Like if I suggest something, if I tell you to do something and you do it, like regardless of if it works or doesn't, like it's like, cool, you did the thing and you're willing to absorb and then,
implement, get the data.
Correct. Because that's the most important thing, right? And I work with a lot of people who are starting out in business, are becoming entrepreneurs, right? Maybe they've been and then they're making a shift into a more leveraged, scalable vehicle of entrepreneurship. But yeah, seeing people take action, seeing people learn, and also like one thing I notice is always having a lot of respect to ask questions as well, and like
humility.
That's what it is. It's like obviously I ask you a lot of questions, like how do you do this? What is your perspective on this? And I think that's a great part of being a student is just asking questions. Like I noticed like the guy I have now in my one-on-one tier, even from the beginning, he spammed me to no end with questions.
Good.
And that's something I really, really love. They're always trying to find the solution, create the solution, find out the best ways to do something. And it's I'm sure for both of us as well, it's like a never-ending game of how do I find out what I don't know? Or how do I even notice that I need to find out what I don't know?
Yes.
And yeah, that's honestly been one of the favorite things for me with working with some of these guys, because like, yes, I'm younger than you, but these guys are even younger than me.
Yes.
There's 22-year-olds, 21, 20-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 18. The youngest guy in my program is 16.
Wow.
And he's making like £5,000 a month. He's from the UK. And so it's like, every time I see someone asking a question, and I notice as well, it's like when they don't ask questions, I can tell what's going to happen.
Exactly.
If they don't ask questions, if they aren't curious, if they don't try, if they don't inquire, if they're not curious, then not much is going to happen, right? So that's my biggest lessons from having people that I teach, that I help bring up as well and offer my perspectives to as well.
Yeah, I will say this and then maybe think up a final question for us, and then I've got one. Man, my clients 24, 26, 28, 30, 31, 34, 35, 39, 42, 46. Exact same rule. The ones who don't ask questions, I know exactly what's going to happen. The ones who spam questions, we get amazing fucking results. And I can always sense it. The ones where I'm having to ask them to ask me questions, that's like, man, what are you doing? You're not leveraging this. You're not truly getting the most out of it. Like some of them may still get great results, but we can get so much more if you just stay curious. That curiosity is something that you can never allow dwindle, So I just want to reiterate, like it's crazy, from a 16-year-old to a 46-year-old, you got to ask questions. And humility is a big trait around that.
Yeah, for sure. It's really interesting for me to like obviously reflect on us, but also like outside of just us. So like the 16-year-old, the 46-year-old, like just that age gap, but still having the same mindset or the same
formula almost.
The same archetype of person. At the end of the day, we're all humans. Some humans fit into certain roles, and just like us, there's a lot of entrepreneurs out there, which is really cool. And so that's the point of this whole conversation, right? Just seeing the contrast, the differences, but also the similarities, the synergies of experience, fresh new ideas. And it's been like one of my greatest learning lessons, I think, our relationship. Because I've never had that, I would call it like, a brotherhood, but also like a father figure.
I agree.
If that makes sense.
Yes.
And I had never had that. My dad, he didn't have a father. Well, his father passed at 9, and so my dad, he didn't grow up with a father. So he had to figure everything out. And I think because of that, obviously he's done incredible for himself, my family, a very stable man. I think because of that, I lacked the father figure that I had always wanted.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
He couldn't show up as something that he never had, ultimately.
Correct.
But he showed up
Correct.
the best that he could in his own way.
Yeah, exactly.
Same
exactly.
as my dad.
Yeah. So like I'm very grateful for this. And something that I think about is you don't need to have like your actual dad to find your father figure.
Yes.
And to have the person ahead of you that teaches you the lessons, essentially. And so, yeah, honestly, like you've been a pivotal part of my journey.
I appreciate
so
that.
far.
Beautiful
And
words, man. I got a good thing for us to close. What's something, I'll go after you, what's something that you feel the world just needs to hear? And then I'll say what I feel through this conversation, feeling inspired of it, and just like what we've achieved today. Not just this capture, but other captures, etc. What do you feel the world just really needs to hear? What is a message that you want to put out in this current season of yours? Because the next time we have a conversation or you have a moment like this, there'll be another message coming through you. But in this season, it could be a message to yourself, could be a message to your students, message to everybody.
Yeah. For me, it would be, I think, 3 things. So try, fail as fast as possible, and just ask questions. That's all it is. Like, try start a business, fail in business, ask questions so you can win in business.
Yes.
Whatever it is. Or like, even for me, like now wanting to try boxing, right? Try, fail, ask, how do I improve?
Yes,
That's all it is. And so, you know, for anybody who's either starting out or just wanting to do something new, you know, because I think life is about growth, expanding, new opportunities, doing new things. Try, fail, and ask. That's
Beautiful.
what I would say.
I would say amazing. I would say leverage, man. Like what this moment is like, this isn't just a podcast. This is a piece of content captured that can multiply into other pieces of content, but it's also a session between us two, but it's also a chance for us to catch up.
Yes.
But we also had lunch, but we're also gonna do boxing. Like we leverage so much from a moment.
Yeah.
And you'll notice more and more, especially as you grow, you understand how to leverage more. And sometimes being a part of another person's leverage, you sort of figure out the puzzle and it's like, oh wow, he has a cameraman, shadow him. But then the cameraman has another cameraman. And there's 2 media teams coming together with multiple pieces of equipment. And then what do they do with the distribution of those assets? And cool, so he turns that into a sale of his high ticket. What's my high ticket? Like, so environment is key, proximity is power, expanding that perspective, understanding the leverage component. And like everyone watching this, do this, because there's a lot of people that would watch this and think about this, or watch this and still just be stuck on one camera, or still front cam of the iPhone. Like, and they'll be like, oh, but I don't have the money for this. There's leverage. Leverage at the end of the day. Become valuable enough and bring some value to the table where, like I always say, become a great canvas. Because like good media needs a good canvas. So if you can be a great canvas, a media team is going to want to use you as the canvas. Right? Or become so valuable that you can bring something to them, whether it's media, whether it's a mentor too. Some mentors you can't buy. Some mentors you have to bring some value to the table. So it's like this beautiful asset value game, you know, at the end of the day. But yeah, I think just from that itself, the overall ethos is like, man, you can be doing so much more. You just got to fucking go for it.
Try, fail, and ask.
Exactly.
That's
it.
it.
All right, boss. Until the next one.
Amazing. Thank
Let's
you.
box.
Let's box. Okay.